Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today I'm going to copy Peter Zion's format and videos. The thing is that while he walks around in these really beautiful places, in the woods, up in the mountains, I'm just going to my local store. I have to buy a couple things. And I have to say it's very hard to walk and do these videos without tripping. Because at least in my city in Argentina, every single sidewalk is different. It's not standardized and the same as it is in most places in the United States. And another thing is that you're going to hear a lot of dogs barking because in Argentina, everyone has a dog. So today we're going to talk about racism and discrimination and my personal experience having to deal with this when I lived in the States. Because this is in base of the fact that I was reading John McWhorter's Woke Racism, and it's very tied to the African American experience or the Black American experience. It's profoundly ethnocentric, and I'm not saying this pejoratively. It's very tied to the culture of the United States, its history, all the baggage relative to slavery, structural racism, so on and so forth. And the idea of this video is not to say that not only Black people have to deal with racism and discrimination, it's just my experience. So the thing is that I went to a really nice public school. I went to kindergarten there, and when it was time to go to first grade, I was separated from all my classmates because I was a Latino kid. I couldn't do the air quotes because I have all the groceries in my other hand. And even though the term is correct, even as a kid, I knew that was basically shorthand to reference someone from Mexico or from Central America. I remember back then, and even as a teen, explaining to people that there are more countries below Central America. Like I would say, my family's from Argentina. Some people would think it was in Eastern Europe. I guess nowadays with the internet and more of a global culture in general, people know where Argentina is. But obviously I've never been offended by this because I don't know, for example, the capitals of most of the Central Asian countries. But I went off on a tangent. The thing is, me being a Latino kid, I was sent to the Latino class. The thing is that I didn't speak in Spanish. The thing is that the LA public school system presupposed that I didn't speak English because my parents came from a country that spoke in Spanish. Even though my English is pretty crappy now, back then English was my only language. I was really sad. First, I was separated from my friends. And second, when I started to go with these new kids, they hated my guts. Back in the 80s, this was more prevalent that people from other countries in Latin America don't like us from Argentina. I remember very clearly as a kid hearing Argentine jokes by Mexicans and Central American kids, and on TV too, like on Univision. Like in the United States, they used to do Polish jokes. Here in Argentina, we would do jokes about a specific ethnic group from Spain called the Gallegos. The thing is that I really stood out in that class, and when those kids discovered that I wasn't from Mexico, I wasn't from El Salvador or from Guatemala, those kids started beating the living crap out of me like every single day. I had a black eye the first 2 weeks. Note, I love Mexico and its culture and its people, and I would love to travel through Central America. I don't have any grudges. I understand possibly where those kids were coming from and what they were going through. I even understand why they were giving classes exclusively in Spanish, even though I think it's detrimental to their integration. I do understand this as an adult, but back then, man, I got the tar beaten out of me more than once. I actually went and begged to the principal to get me out of that class. I actually explained to him, and later on my parents, it's like, I only speak in English. I do understand Spanish. And things actually got so bad that they actually sent me back with my old classmates. Now, here's the cool thing about my experience in the LA public school system. The class that I went back to was very multicultural and had a profound impact on me as I grew up and on my worldviews. Like there were only just 2 or 3 at most American kids. Here we got the quotey fingers. I remember there was a kid called Weston, Curtis, and Kyle, and that's it. The rest of the kids were sons of Japanese immigrants, Korean immigrants, a kid from Greece, another kid that came from Algeria. Also, half of my classmates were Jewish. The thing is that my class was like the United Nations. We were from all over the place. It was super cool to play with any of my friends from that class because going to their houses, each one was very different from mine. I learned the difference between cultures and to really enjoy foods from other places. Like every time we had like a holiday from one of these countries or even mine, we would take typical food to our class to share with our friends. So on one hand, I had this negative experience where because I was Latino, again with air quotes, because I really hate the term, I didn't know how to speak in English, and therefore I had to go with other kids. And then I had to deal with the discrimination from those other kids that used to beat the crap out of me. Even though now remembering there was one kid, his name was Caesar, and he was a legend to me. Like we stayed friends. His dad had a Mexican restaurant, and Caesar also ended up transferring to my course. But on the other side, I had this really positive experience with multiculturalism, having been exposed to different points of view and experiences being with these other kids. I do have to mention that there was one black kid in my class. His name was Alan. He was a legend. I loved playing with him. I never understood why there were not more black kids in my school in general. Later on, as an adult, I discovered how Los Angeles was carved up in the school districts to keep black kids not integrating themselves with white kids. Structural racism, I understand it. But the thing is, I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time. Bye.